Thank you, Emma. We're now going to pivot the discussion away from the product and towards ROI, ROAI, and value. I'm Marco, and I want to briefly introduce the topic before we have Tom from Aviva talk about a real-life story by talking about what we as data and AI teams can learn on the topic of value from other business functions. I believe that there are synergies and learnings that we can take from the way that other functions in the enterprise grow, merge, adapt, that we as data teams and AI teams can leverage. And so today I want to focus on what we can learn on the topic of value from procurement. Why procurement? Historically, procurement was a transactional or administrative function that handled on a by-request basis, so on for an individual purchase or for certain documentation. Not too dissimilar from early data and BI teams who would focus on providing a piece of data or a dashboard output. Over time, the function became more and more important and strategic, and in that time started to report into varying different reporting lines, sometimes finance, sometimes supply chain, with varying degrees of influence. Again, not too dissimilar from CDAO, CDO, chief AI officers from today in terms of the variability that is seen. One of the primary ways in which the function of procurement aimed to elevate itself was by defining their own metrics for success. Metrics like the number of requests served that were adherent to procurement policy or amount of spend under management, things like that. I generalize this to be delivery KPIs, so things that are directly attributed to the work that we do and the outputs we produce. So in our data and AI world, we can think of number of dashboards produced, number of models that we've pushed into production, precision, number of data products that we have in an MLOps process. However, procurement's primary driver, and the reason they exist and the main thing that they're known for, is savings. Now, savings is an interesting one because this is a support function who supports other areas of the business, other business functions, other regions, in order to optimize the impact that they have within each of those different areas. But they are an optimizer, they're an influencer, a little bit like how our data products, now AI products, should be influencing the output business impact at the end. I was once a consultant to a large pharmaceutical organization where the chief procurement officer in a financial year put her hand up and said, we are going to save $1 billion across the company this year. And what she was committing to was to say, our business impact across different functions and different regions will accumulate to $1 billion. And she also KPI'd her teams in order to, procurement professionals, her category managers, in order to drive individual savings across the business. How often do we as data teams and CDOs, et cetera, make a commitment like that? How often are our KPIs set for our analysts and data scientists to drive business value as opposed to the outcome KPIs that we typically see? We do have some customers here we've spoken to today who do that, but it's still comparatively rare within the data and the AI world. And so in summary, these are some of the learnings that I think we can learn from, in this case, procurement. The importance of setting success KPIs, which are performative metrics that we can track and then benchmark against them. In a second, Tom will come up and talk about Aviva's most recent iteration of the story with Dataiku and with some key programs being launched in which they've been able to benchmark themselves to a higher and higher level. I believe this should then be the foundation for us to be more bullish and take credit for more of the business impacts that we are driving. I loved earlier on the System 1 guys who had a 2,000% revenue increase up there, right? Which is probably a lot of us couldn't maybe get to that number. It's quite high, but it's great to see and again comparatively rare. Once we have then defined that impact that we're making and the success metrics that we're trying to drive, we can learn from other teams like marketing in terms of how we make a noise about our success in order to influence our strategic nature and continue to grow within the enterprise. So things like channeling information and outputs and success stories or targeted campaigns into other leadership areas within the enterprise. All of this combined then becomes our way to ensure that our importance and our strategic nature within the enterprise grows over time. That was my theoretical value introduction, but to bring it to life with an actual story, from Aviva, please welcome on stage Mr. Tom Spencer.